So Anil Srivatsa will talk about his journey. I just want to tell you that I met him recently, but that doesn't matter because when you meet someone so inspiring, so telling you in many ways than one and many ways and more than just words about what you should do with what you believe in. And it's really quite ideal. So thank you Anil for coming to Lamakaan for sharing your story with us and welcome.
5 years ago, my brother asked me to give him my kidney because he had some failure. And it didn't take me too long to say yes. But then I started to learn about the emotional trauma and the fear and the barriers in the medical side and the legal side. It wasn't easy to give it. It was easy to say yes. To see my brother come out of where he was and starting to become an active member and a productive member of society again, I thought to myself, why aren't more people doing this? And that's when I said, okay, if I gathered the strength from speaking to 2 or 3 people who've done it before me, then perhaps can I be the strength of 1,000,000? And that changed the course of how deeply involved I got in this organ donation campaign. I love driving. I like driving long distances. So I said, okay, let me start driving around the world in my own car, across borders, across continents, and along the way start engaging with people of different cultures, of different thought process, of different religious beliefs, and see what they have objections to. So that's how I started driving around the world, and along my way I talked to people in organized gatherings and get-togethers through the Rotary Club or through people and friends and family organizations. What is my objective? It's 2 things. A is to give people more details about what organ donation is. They've heard of it. Most people don't understand what it takes, and that's where things fall apart. And if 100 people are donors, maybe 2 will go through or 3 will go through, because the rest of them have no clue and are not prepared for the time when it happens. So I'm trying to bridge that gap as much as I can. And the second thing is I'm trying to make myself look like an example or a lead by example. Organ donation is a direct act of love, either for humanity at a macro level or for loved ones. If you don't love, then you're not going to be an organ donor. It has to be driven by the heart. But the heart says, yes, I want to, but there's something else that says no. And what is that? Fear. And fear comes from ignorance. I've driven so far about 41 countries. It's about 300 days of being in the car. We sleep in the car, we live in the car. Spoken to so far 45,000 people in all my drives. I'm not a lone ranger in this whole endeavor. There's a whole village behind me that's raising me on this. But I'm looking for your support, not personally, but I want you to be involved in this, because when you're involved, you're going to start changing your thinking, and the people that you come across with, you're going to tell them the message that I probably will speak to you about, because when you donate, I know you did it. I will talk to you personally and thank you for sure. But otherwise, meeting the community and having the community then go out into their communities to spread this message is the most effective way of doing this, because at the end of the day, you can have 300 laws that are conducive. If the conversation has not begun in the house, there is no organ donation. So I'm an addict. If I have 2 people listening to me, I'd love to talk. I think I have more than quorum over here, so I'm good to go. Thank you again for joining me now. You know the background. So let me talk about the foreground. Organ donation is not a fun topic to speak about or to listen to, especially in our communities. When I say our community, Indians mostly, because we don't like to talk about death very often. You speak about death at home and then you get rapped on your knuckles or you get rapped on your head and say, shh, shub shub bolo, speak good things only. So when you don't talk about death, then organ donation is never a subject you talk about on your dining table, right? And that's the problem here. Just to give you a little statistics about our community. In England, where the laws are very conducive, 30% of the people waiting for a kidney or a liver, 30%, that's a lot, are Indians. in England. In the donor list, 2% are Indians. So they're ready to take, but they don't want to give. It's okay to take, but to give, there's a problem. And that problem lies in the root of our misconceptions, ignorance, fear, and sometimes just sheer selfishness. And as you heard me say in the video, that organ donation is an act of love. And it's not necessary to love. Yeah, I love my brother, so I gave it to him. No brainer. It's not a heroic thing to do. And by the way, speaking of heroic, I apologize for the headline of this event, from CEO to hero. Not my idea, Ilahi.
It was the best headline.
It's shittiest headline.
Have come because of that headline.
You can take a poll. They're just your friends and they're being nice to you. Okay, so when you love, it's more from a humanitarian level. When you want to give your eyes, why would you give your eyes? Because you don't know who you're giving it to. But when you believe those eyes are going to somebody that will see this world like you are now, and you're just going to burn it away, then there is no doubt in my mind, and shouldn't be in yours, that you have some level of love for humanity. Otherwise you wouldn't do it. So the hypothesis or the thesis of organ donation is love. So let's keep that aside. If there's anyone that argues that is not the case, I'd love to hear that argument. But right now, I haven't heard an argument that says, no, it can also be driven by fear. Organ donation is driven by fear at some points, and that's the thing we need to stop. That's how the Indian system is stacked up to prevent that from happening, to an extent that even the legitimate cases find it difficult to donate an organ, because it's so strict. Organs are stolen, organs are forced to be donated, mostly in families where women's lives are not as valuable. Valuable to save a man, but you'll see a lot more women giving to men and less men giving to women in their homes. There's a gender bias there. So, with that backdrop, I just want to tell you my story, okay? And that my story is the story of the Aam Aadmi. And I'm by no means an Aam Aadmi from a sense of influence. And I went through a lot of hassles to make my kidney donation happen. So here we go. So 5 years ago, my brother finally came to me and said, listen, I need your kidney now. He told me sometime in 2009, yaar, mere ko shayad tera kuch chahiye. Like, kuch chahiye means what? We are 1 year apart. So we practically grew up together. We're like twins, actually. We look alike if you actually see him separately. We've shared everything. He's built like me, so we've shared shoes, we've shared jeans, we've shared t-shirts. Not shared, he's taken from me. I've never taken his stuff, he's taken stuff from me, and that's been the way we've grown up. So he comes and says, yeah, bhai, mere ko kuch chahiye. Main kya chahiye? I'm like, le jana jo bhi hai. Nahi. Sun, kya chahiye? Tera kidney chahiye. I'm like, ye had ho gayi bhai. Yeah, no problem, kuch bhi le ja. We've even shared girlfriends. Right? So, yeah, not at the same time, but...
There are children in the audience.
So learn a lesson. Keep it in the family. But when he said kidney chahiye, now we have all this dramatic behavior in our society. That's how our films are so dramatic. It's a reflection of how we think. Bhai, meri jaan hazir hai, le mere bhai. So he says, yaar, tu itna jaan bol raha hai, kidney to de. Like, sahi baat bole. Oh, ले जाओ. 2009. ठीक है यार, 10-20-25 साल बाद आएगा वो. तब तक बच्चे बड़े हो जाएंगे, हम भी बूढ़े हो जाएंगे. 2 किडनी रख के क्या फायदा हमको. पर 5 साल पहले हम भी थोड़ा 40s में ही थे, उन्हें आए बोले अब भी चाहिए। बोला अभी मतलब अभी। That's when it hit me. I'm like, दे देंगे करके बोल दिए, अब दे दिए तो मेरा क्या होगा कल यार। सो ये जो डर है ना, डर पकड़ लेती है। अब क्या है हमारी लाइफ में, डर इज अ वेरी सेंट्रल थिंग। अभी डर है इसलिए मजहब है, डर नहीं होता तो मजहब भी नहीं होता। तो इतना डर पैदा है हम में कि प्यार होता, पर प्यार से ज़्यादा डर का ये जो पकड़ है ना, तो डर के आगे क्या मालूम नहीं, वो खाली वो पानी बेचने के लिए वो अच्छा नारा था, वो डर के आगे जीत है। नहीं, डर के आगे जीत नहीं है, डर के आगे प्यार है, और प्यार की जीत हमेशा होती है, ये मानना पड़ेगा। अब प्यार में हम क्या क्या पागलपना करते हैं मालूम, करते ना। किसी चीज से प्यार है, अभी फोन देखो अपना, इतना प्यार है फोन से, गिर गया तो जान हथेली में आता। क्यों? फोन से इतना प्यार है। अब देखो प्यार मत, अब लड़का लड़की प्यार करते हैं तो भाग जाते हैं, कुछ कुछ कर लेते हैं, क्योंकि प्यार है। वो प्यार का वो पावर जो है ना, उसका जीत होता है हमेशा। खैर अभी छोड़ो। तो भाई का ये समस्या है। मैं भाई को बोला चलो किडनी तो मांग रहा है, मैं इफ आई से यस दैट विल बी टू इजी। हैव यू डन everything that you need to do to avoid taking my kidney? First question, have you registered yourself on the registry to get a dead person's kidney? वो तो मर गया तो उसका तो पहले लो, अगर वो नहीं चला तो मैं स्टैंड बाय। आप स्टैंड बाय पहले ले लेंगे, नहीं काम हुआ तो खाया पिया कुछ नहीं, गिलास तोड़ा बारह ना मेरे को ना आपको। बोला हाँ हमने किया, मैं किया, and I started doubting him. I said, yeah, I've made it too easy. And I'm not proud of it, but I started thinking negative thoughts. I started resenting him for taking me for granted. And this is the mental trauma that really was the hardest to overcome. He assured me every time, yes, I'm doing everything I can, I'm doing everything I can. And there was no doubt that I'll not give it to him. Giving it to him was not was the only thing was going to happen. But will I make it easy for him? If I make it too easy, will he appreciate it? And all of these started percolating in my head, completely confused. Then comes this first hurdle. Now I'll tell you about love again. See, this is a central theme I told you. See, love will go through many tests. वो जो परीक्षा है, and when it comes out of those tests, winning, that love is pure, tested, and unfallible. As human beings, we are so accustomed to hearing this no. As a child, we hear it from our parents. Mummy, chocolate, no. Mama, I want this, no. Daddy, can I have this paisa? No, no. You grow up, you go to school, you go ask the teacher, I want more marks. No, I want to go to susu. No. You get into the work life, I want more increment. No, I want leave. No. The no is so easy. I want to be friends with Eli. The friend says no. That saying no is so easy now for us. And every excuse we get to say no, we take it. And in organ donation, that is not truer than anything else. So my first opportunity to prove my love to myself. So once I've decided to give the kidneys, the doctors step in. You think they'll encourage you, you think they're making you feel nice and good and comfortable about the whole thing. No. They call you into a closed room and then they ask you, are you sure you want to give your kidney? Okay, fair question. Yeah, I'm very sure. No, I mean it. Are you really, really sure? I'm like, dude, I'm here. Why are you asking me this question? Well, maybe you're under pressure. And it does happen. So I don't fault the doctors for asking that. Here's my wife with me too, right? So my wife's like second guessing this already. Like, oh, okay. Telling my wife, 1 in 3,000 people die on the table. I'm like, dude, who are you looking at and talking? This is my wife. The most scaredest person ever in this world. Now, you're scaring the crap out of her by saying shit like this. So I can't even say that. I'm like, it's like 1 in 3,000 people die. Now, she doesn't realize what that means, right? Statistics is the biggest lie. So she's like, what if he's the number 3,000? Do you know that? Can you guarantee? It's like, no, we can't guarantee that. Are you counting? No one's counting. Then he goes on to say, well, the odds are greater to die when you're walking on the streets, because 1 in 250 people die on the streets. So she's like, now I can't walk on the street? So this is a moment where everybody who has agreed to give an organ, now when you're alive you can only give 2 of your organs and still live. Your liver or your kidney, okay? And this is the first step. A lot of people take this step to say no. The doctor says, if you really don't want to give your kidney, tell me. Tell me. I'll find a way that you are unfit. This way you can tell your brother, listen, boss, I want to give it to you, but the doctor says I'm unfit. So the relationship is maintained. And no. So, and here's my nervous wife standing right next to me, and they're like, see, Anil, you have a risk of diabetes. I'm like, why do I have a risk of diabetes? No, your family history, my mom had it, both the sets of my grandparents had it. My wife has it, but I have no blood with her, so that's okay. So I said, okay, do I have diabetes now? He said, no, you're okay now. Let's do this. But you could have in the future, and here's my wife. No, you could have in the future. No. I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to die in the future. Why would I worry about the future when I can save him now? I'm okay now. He can be okay now. Tomorrow I could be hit by a bus. Who cares about diabetes?
Yeah.
Right? So I said, no, I'm here, take it. Finally, they were convinced that I really want to give. And I passed the test. I was looking to say yes. They're making me say no. And a lot of people at this stage succumb and walk away. Let's assume this happens. Okay, they passed this test. Then comes the next test. Just like that. You think you're over it? Yes, I can give my brother the kidney. He can live a life and I can go on with mine. I think I can go on with mine because I'm really scared. What if my life comes to a complete turnaround and I can't do the things I'm doing now? And I'm a really active guy. Suddenly my bucket lists are flashing in front of my face. Before I give the kidney, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do that. I actually ran away and went on an expedition to Antarctica because I figured I can't go farther away than that. I was delaying the whole process by taking care of my bucket lists of doing things. Then comes the next hurdle. In this country, the laws say that you cannot give your organ unless you have the permission of your spouse. In America, it would be a no-brainer. My kidney, my life, my decision. I'll give it to a stranger if I want to. No one's going to ask you a question. Here, not happening. Of course, I didn't know that. And that was the hardest hurdle to cross. You don't cross your wife. Now my wife, as scared as she is, after hearing 1 in 3,000 and no guarantee that I could be the 3,000, she's like, listen, I'm happy that you want to save your brother and all, very noble of you, but you know what? If something happened to you, hamara kya hoga kalya? I'm the only breadwinner in the house. killed. My kids were young, 14 and 16 at the time. So she said, listen, if I have to sign and something happened to you, I'm going to live with it for the rest of my life, and I'm not willing to do that. I'm like, okay, fair enough. Wasn't fair, but I can't argue with that because she had a point. And that's when the turmoil began. Now, and this is the point where most people say no. Eh bhai, bhabhi nahi ja rahi hai. Sorry. Bhabhi saying no. I'd love to give it to you, but she said no, and no becomes the answer, and then I walk away. So another point in your test of love, which I keep saying love is so great, where it's great only after you pass these tests. So now comes the turmoil with the wife. It's again, have you seen the movie Diwar? The famous dialogue? Well, I was Shashi Kapoor and she was Amitabh Bachchan. Darling, tu sign karegi ki nahi? Say, हाँ मैं साइन करूंगी. पहले उस आदमी का साइन लेके आओ जो गारंटी देगा तू मरेगा नहीं. हाँ मैं साइन करूंगी. पहले उस आदमी का साइन लेके आओ. अगर तू मर भी गया तो हाँ हमारे बच्चों का देखभाल करेगा. It literally came to that. And I'm like, sorry, ऐसा आदमी नहीं है मेरे पास. To a point where it became such a conundrum where we contemplated divorce. Because I said, listen, I'm going to give this kidney no matter what. The only reason you're standing in front of me as an obstacle is because you're my wife. She told me, as long as you don't want my signature, go ahead and do it. But because you're my wife, you have to sign. So let's just divorce. Na rahegi baans, na bajegi bansuri. So I told her we'll do that. So this way you don't have to sign because you're not my wife anymore. And once it's all over, I'll come back and marry you. And that didn't fly very well because she knows me. Like, tu bhag jayega. Plan cancelled. So it's funny now, then it wasn't. It came to a point where, have you all ever contemplated running away from home because you had bad marks and didn't want to face your parents? Well, I was in that situation now and I just didn't want to live at home. So I ran away from home. I called it going away on a trek. I went away into the Himalayas for 15 days. No one could contact me. I just needed to clear my head because I didn't know. Do I save my brother? Do I save my marriage? Where do I start? Because one problem became two now. I didn't want to think about it. I said, just let the universe conspire. Let me just get out of here. And I went away. By the time I came back into cell phone network range, the first call was my wife. Clearly she's been calling every 2 seconds. And asking me frantically, where are you? My first thoughts went to my brother. I said, why? Is he okay? Oh, no, he's okay, but not. I'm like, what do you mean not? He just went into his first dialysis. Till then, he wasn't on dialysis. Now he went into dialysis. I'm like, oh, good, okay. He must be taken care of by the doctors. He's a doctor himself. My brother's a neurosurgeon. So he said, no, please come quickly. He needs your kidney. I'm like, who? Excuse me, who's this? He says, stop kidding. I'm like, kidding? You're the one joking here. I left home because of you, that you didn't want to sign. What changed? I called my brother and I said, yeah, tu paise waise to nahi diya usko. He said, no. Of course, it's a joke. Yeah, it's not a thing I should say in public actually, because we don't like that happening. So she said, nahi yaar, maine kuch nahi diya. And here my brother's also doing drama. I will take your kidney only if she says yes. I'm like, dude, you want to live or not? So, and all this drama is happening and I'm the one here in the middle throwing it. My kidney, but everyone's deciding what to do with it. So she said, no, come quickly, he needs your kidney. Arey wah. Ab hak jata rahe. I said, what changed? What happened? I mean, I was happy, but what happened? I was curious. Turned out that my two children, my daughter and my son, my daughter is older, more mature, as most women are that age, sat their mother down and asked her face to face, point blank, why? What is your problem? He loves his brother, he wants to save him. What if I needed to give a kidney to Surya, my son? Would you not have allowed me? He says, no, I'm afraid for you. I'm like, what are you afraid for us? We are not afraid. We have this gut instinct saying everything will be okay, so come on, let's do this. So my wife's like, oh, if they're not afraid, then why am I afraid? That's all it took, my kids convincing the mother, and I couldn't do this. So I said, oh, this is nice. I kept that at the back of my head. And finally, she signed. I said yes, but one more wall. Now see, by this time, either the patient is tired or the donor gets tired. And it's not an easy thing because it's the harassment emotionally. And now comes the law. The law now says that you need to give your kidney only based on our approval. So there is a transplant approval committee. Every state has it. The health is a state subject, so each state does it differently. But by and large, they're all following the same procedure, which is no procedure. They look at your face and tell you the procedure, and that's the problem. So they saw my face and said, you look like an American. So why don't you go to the embassy and get a no objection certificate? I am an American. So I had to go to the American embassy as per their requirement. That's when I put my foot down. I said, enough is enough. America doesn't care who I give my kidney to. Why will they give me a no objection? First of all. Number two, I'm an overseas citizen of India, OCI. I have every right as an Indian citizen to give my kidney. This idiot lawyer had no clue what OCI meant. So I had to explain to him what OCI meant. And this is the hospital's lawyer. Because they're trying to provide liability cover for the hospital in case I come back and say they stole my kidney. That's how idiotic this thing has become. So finally I threatened the hospital to take them to court. And then they finally said, oh, okay, because the same hospital my brother was working in as a neurosurgeon. They finally said, okay, after making me prove that he is my brother, after interviewing my mother to prove that we are the sons, while the DNA test was right there staring them in the face. Now when there is a DNA test, why do you need affidavits from the tehsildar? Who goes to a tehsildar anyway today? Have you gone to tehsildar here in Hyderabad? Do you know where he sits? Do you know he exists?
Somewhere in the corner of the city.
Now what happened here is they've taken property procedures from the villages. There you need the tehsildar. What does the tehsildar certify? He certifies my family tree like he freaking knows where my sperm came from. How does he certify my family tree and how does that become authentic? And all this delay, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, what if the patient dies in this process? And patients have died. Who takes responsibility? So I wasn't about to let that happen, so I'm Jhansi ka Raja. I fight, there's a motto I live by. If you're right, it's worth the fight. Win or lose, not for me to choose. But if it's right, fight. And I did fight, came through, finally they agreed. They took a video, a closed room video recording of my wife just by herself, my mother just by herself, asking for sure, are you sure you're okay with this? My wife at that point started crying. I'm like, dude, How many times are you going to ask me? So they harass you to that point where the donor is going to finally say, you know what, screw this, I don't want to give my kidney. Sorry, boss. The donors, the recipient's like, I'd rather die.
Which year was this?
2014, 5 years ago. So finally the day happened, September 5th. My brother and I started living 2 lives each, one mine, one his. And this is where the light bulb came up. You know the Swadesh moment? Shah Rukh Khan's lighting a light bulb. I remembered that. I said, what do I do for the rest of my life? First of all, after I gave my kidney, I'm thinking, will my life be the same? It was painful, no doubt. They do more on me than on my brother. Now there are 2 ways to get a kidney transplant. One is laparoscopic, and the other one is the traditional way where they chop you up like mutton chop, break your ribs, cut your muscles, and then pull your thing out from here. They gave me the option of doing the laparoscopic, and I asked for the risk. The laparoscopic hole was this big, just logically speaking. The kidney is this big. How in the world is that thing coming through that small hole now? There's got to be some trauma. There's got to be some possible damage. Now I'm not going to go through all of this to risk that. So I said, no, cut me up, take it properly. I want to see this work now. So this is what it looks like when they do that. Okay, so I don't have one rib here. They actually break the rib because the kidney is behind the rib, and that rib is garbage. Can't put it back. I'm lighter now by that many pounds. So I can't.
You lost one more kidney.
I just lost one kidney.
That means you need to get married again. That last rib is your wife. So one more is.
Oh, the rib. Yeah. That legend that your wife and your rib. Yeah, it has something to do with it. Adam and Eve, rib. Eve was made with the rib of Adam. Okay. So anyway, so that kidney was out. I used to be a model in my life before. Now I can't model for Raymond anymore because I'm not a complete man. Come on, that's a joke. So that pretty much covers the scenario of everyone that gives an organ when they're alive. So now I'm putting myself in this space. I spoke to 3 people who had given a kidney before me. I'm not the first, I'm not the last. For a few years after that, the media and everybody made me out to be the brother of the year. I said, let me use that. What do I do? Now I'm in the media and entertainment business. If I could find strength from 3 people that I spoke to, can I become the strength for 1 million? Now I've learned a lot on how to make fake news. Can I make that real news and make it real for people? And make my profession come in handy, warna mera pesha bura maan jayegi. Can I? Very filmy, no? You're wearing off on me, Lai. There's people waiting to hear me. Come on, bring them in. It's a dance group. It's a dance group. Okay, so they may as well listen to this. Could save their lives. So that's when I began to find myself in a space where I said, okay, let me dedicate my life to spreading more awareness about organ donation, especially life donation, because it's driven by fear, and the fear is what would happen to me. So if I were going to be the example, if I could be the example of someone who's given a kidney and living an extraordinary life and not just a normal life, how do I make it extraordinary? So I started driving around the world, doing talks like this, forcing my friends to bring their friends and family here. And I've managed to speak to 46,000 people like that with over 200 talks. And my goal is to be 1 lakh. Okay? All the media that I get has already given me my 1 million goal. So 1 million people have heard my story. So that's done. But this 1 lakh, I'm still on the road for that. So this year I've taken part in the World Transplant Games. I'd never heard of this 2 years ago, or I would have done it 2 years ago. Apparently there is an Olympics event, like the Paralympics are for the differently abled. There is something called the World Transplant Games for the people who've donated and received an organ. And so I said, okay, let me take part in this. Now, I wanted to be the example of saying that I can put my body through all kinds of physical pressure and stress. Now, I'm a long distance runner. There was a 5-kilometer run, and I'm too easy. There was cricket ball throw contest. How far can you throw the cricket ball? Like, okay, that sounds like a plan. That's one of my events. But then there was this 100-meter sprint. Now, I've always looked at Usain Bolt and said, someday I would like to do this. And this is when I got the opportunity. Now I'm 51. Yeah, look like I'm 21, I know, but but my bones tell me a different story. At 21, I still look the same.
Once I 20 is double.
I still fit into my pants from those ages. That's what I mean. Or shirts. So I said, that's the event I want to do, the 100-meter sprint. And I've been training for the last 2.5 months under Reet Abraham, who's an Arjuna Award winner for India, and she's a sprinter herself. So she's coaching me and trying to make an athlete out of me, and I think she did okay for this turnaround. So we have 14 of us from India representing India. And the other bucket list for me was to represent India in a sport. And I finally got my chance. I said, if it was so easy, I'd have given my kidney when I was 20. It's a lot harder to wear the India sticker when you have both your kidneys. You actually have to compete for the space. Here, I just went in right away. So I'm running the race on August 21st. I'm leaving day after tomorrow to finish the rest of my training. I'm actually training, trust me, like any other athlete. I don't want to fall flat there. Right? Now I can do more push-ups, I can do more of all of those things. I can pull-ups, I could do 0, now I can do 5 at least. So,
Where's the race?
it's in, so this year it's in England. The 60 countries participate. India is sending a 14-member team. Last year India sent 3 people, so we're increasing India's team size. Which is great, which is the other reason I want the games to get more publicity so that more people come and participate. United States sends 150 delegates, athletes for this, so you can imagine we're far behind. And it's a reason to show people how healthy life can be. And once I've given my kidney, I think I'm healthier than I used to be when I was with 2 kidneys because I take care of myself better now. So no downside. Yeah, I have 1 kidney. If that fails, what happens? Luckily, the laws are stacked in such a way that if my kidney fails, I get on the top of the waiting list because I've already given 1. And hopefully, I have enough well-wishers in life who will step forward and give me 1. I just need 1. Right?
Who is your brother?
My brother is fabulous. In his 3rd week of organ transplant, he started doing surgeries, so he's been saving lives every day. So his was a good life to save. A lot of karma coming my way as well. And yeah. So the other part of what I do, I know I have to wind up quickly, but I'm just trying to tell you, the awareness part is great, but what do we do with those stupid laws, the stupid procedures or the lack of procedures? So I've also taken up, so this is my NGO, right, the Gift of Life Adventure, and through this I've filed a few writ petitions in the Karnataka High Court, taking some unique cases. Now friends can't donate to a friend normally, but because I took up 2 cases where a friend wanted to donate to a friend, I've won that case. Those friends have been able to get the transplant, so those lives have been saved. But it also has created a case precedent, a case history that tomorrow if some friend wants to give to a friend, they can refer to this judgment and say, you can't stop me. because you gave yes there, now you can give yes here. So the law says you can donate to a related person, but the interpretation is blood relations. That's not true. Friendship is a relationship. I'm right now dealing with a case where Maulvi's assistant wants to give it to one of the what do you call devotees in the mosque. So a Muslim boy, I say boy, is 24, 25-year-old, and he wants to get a kidney, and his first kidney failed because his mother gave him the first kidney. That didn't work out for more than 5 years. So he needs another one now. So somebody in the mosque was willing to give it to him, and they refused to take it. The hospital said, no, we won't do it. So now this case that we've filed for him, we've actually sued every hospital in Bangalore, because we want them to come to court and tell us why they're not doing that case, because the true story is they're afraid of the government, who threatened them that if they did that case, their license would be cancelled. And the government has given them an official letter in those very words. So essentially we're suing the government, and that is now turning into a PIL, so hopefully the outcome will be great, and more people will get kidneys easier. But we're really trying to get the procedure streamlined. Don't see my face and tell the process. I just want the process regardless of my face. That's the situation we need to be in. Arun Jaitley and Sushma Swaraj got it in 10 days, which means it's possible to do in 10 days. So if it's possible for them, it should be possible for anyone else. And that's the fight that we're fighting in the courts, which is less known. I'm more known for all of this talk, but it's not all talk. There's a lot of action behind it as well. I have taken more time if I leave it open for questions. Essentially what I'm trying to say is, even if you can't donate an organ when you're alive, please do so when you die. Because there is no religion that says you can't do it. If there is anything that says it in the scriptures, show it to me. I'll stop doing this. I'll move on to something else. Because I don't like to live a lie. There is no scripture that says you can't do it. Because I asked one of my ex-Indian cricketer teammates. I used to be the CEO of Kings 11 Punjab, okay? And one of my teammates is Muslim. And I said, listen, can you help me promote my cause? He says, nahi yaar, ye mere mein nahi hota hai. I'm like, mere mein nahi hota means what? Nahi, hum Musalmanon mein ye organ donation ka hum log kuch nahi karte hain. I'm like, why? अगर तुम्हारे भाई को चाहिए होता है तो देगा नहीं? हाँ नहीं, मैं तो कल ही दे दूँ. I said, फिर हमारे में नहीं होता मतलब क्या? So these are the dichotomies that are happening. अपने लिए हाँ पर दूसरों के लिए ना. So this religious misconceptions, even in Hinduism, there's like, अगर आंखें दे देंगे तो अगले जन्म में अंधा पैदा हो जाएंगे. अगर दिल दिया तो अगले जन्म में दिल बिना कैसे जियोगे? नहीं, लॉजिक नहीं चलता ना इधर. और हिंदुओं में जला देते हैं ना बॉडी को, अगले जन्म में राख बनकर पैदा होंगे क्या? So these are issues that have to be dealt with. These are reasons people used to say no. Essentially that's all it is. नहीं बोलने के एक बहाने हैं. So when I do these talks, this is not the audience, general age group that I talk to. I speak to school children who are 9th grade and above, and I speak to college kids, and I speak to young professionals. Now I'll tell you why. There is one law you need to understand about organ donation post your death. How many of you want to give your eyes up once you die? No, don't sign. Okay, let's quickly talk about signing. Signing is not legal. Signing is not legal. Not here. There it's different. American bol raha hai. Signing in India is not legal. So your signing is useless. What is useful? Having conversations at home. Because who owns your eyes? Your family. If you say, I don't want to be an organ donor, and your son decides, your children decide collectively, yes, we want to donate daddy's organs, their daddy's organs get donated. So when I speak to young people, why do I speak to young people? Because my children made sense to my mom, to my wife. Clearly their heads are clearer, they're more clinical, they're less emotional, they're more humane, I guess. So, if you want to donate your eyes, you've got to start conversations in your house, because your family is going to do it. You can't do nothing. However, for your parents. If you think it's the right thing to do, where somebody lives a nicer life because of your generosity, then you have the decision to make for your parents. And that's why I talk to younger people, because they are going to be in that space to make a decision sooner than their own lives, because your parents have to go first, and the parents will go. Your grandparents will go. You will go. It's a matter of time. So, if you really want to be an organ donor, be one for your parents. Because your organs you have no control on. Only if you have conversations at home. Keep telling them how you feel, because if you don't talk about it enough, often enough, they'll forget. Because when you're dead, there's too much grief in the house. They're not thinking about organ donation. After 6-7 hours, it's too late. You got to do this in the first 5 hours. And one eye can give sight to 3 people. So that means both your eyes can give 6 people sight. Why is that a wrong thing? Because one cornea has 3 layers. So these are important things. Just because you sign doesn't make you, well, it makes you a good human being mentally, but will it actually happen if you don't tell your family? No, it won't happen. So that's a khokla goodness. Conscience scam. Very nice person. Facebook me darling, I just became an organ donor. I signed. Everyone give you like, love. But then what happens after that? Who did you sign with? People ask me, give me form. If I gave you form, you filled it, I took it back home. How the heck am I going to know when you die? Who's telling me that? No one's telling me that. So why are you giving me your information? I'll give it and sell it to some marketer who will give you crank calls. That's what's happening. The government is asking you to give you all the Aadhaar number, this number. Why do you need all that for my kidney? Now they have a database.
Now, why do you think they are so stringent with this law?
Because, okay, laws are knee-jerk reactions. If the laws were to apply, the same logic were to apply to all laws, no car will be sold, no one will walk the streets, because theft happens everywhere. 10% से ज़्यादा theft नहीं होता है. So why are 90% people suffering legitimate cases? Why is the logic of I'd rather imprison one guilty, let loose 20 guilty people and then to imprison one innocent person? Why is that logic not applied here? Because there's money attached to it.
Organ mafia is there?
The mafia exists because there is that law.
Or vice versa?
No. Look, people are going to want to live no matter what. If you need an organ, what are you going to say? अरे नहीं यार, मैं तो मर ही जाऊंगा. I'll stand on principle. मेरे सिद्धांत ऐसे हैं, मेरे परंपरा ऐसी है. नहीं, you'll say मेरे को जीना है भाई. चोरी करो या खरीदो या कुछ भी करो. Your first thought, I get calls every day. Every day. Not 1, not 2, at least 5. Because people think I'm going to help them find a kidney. अरे यार, you work in this space, can I find a kidney? I'm like, yeah, बाजार है क्या? Why? Because they're looking to buy. I say, what happened in your family? Family में कौन है? नहीं, उनको सब sugar हो गया है. Why? Because they've said no. The doctor. Suddenly everyone develops diabetes. So they come to buy. Because survival is what every living thing does. Fight or flight. So when people donate organs, it's donation. I have no problem if it becomes legal to sell and monitor. Everybody's making money. If one kidney is enough to live a healthy life, then what's the problem? Right? At least the guy who wants to sell his kidney is doing it because he needs the money. Maybe he has 5 people at home to feed. So why not save his life and his family's life? There is a state in Tamil Nadu. Actually, no, Iran. Iran, the government has this program where the donor comes to the government. There's an exchange happening there, and the government monitors how the money goes directly to not the donor, he's a seller. Sri Lanka. So then you don't call them donors, you call them sellers. So what? Donors are the ones who donate, the sellers are the ones who sell. But at the end of the day, with so much money being spent on research for cancer, which I believe is again fraudulent, of the pharmaceutical companies, what is the objective of all this medical research? To save a life. When this is so easy here, why is everybody not doing it? And that's the problem we're trying to fix.
But there are very few people that I've met who stand out. And one of those people is Anil Srivatsa.
Anil donated his kidney and is running the 100-meter sprint at the age of 51. I think that is deeply inspiring and so incredible.
What this clearly goes to show you is that organ donation does not end your life. As a matter of fact, it gives you the joy of living 2 lives instead of just one.
So Mr. Srivatsa is trying to spread awareness that post a kidney transplant, you can still lead a very normal life and lead a very enriched life, knowing that you're living your own life, but you've also saved someone else's life.
I believe when you donate an organ, you give someone another life. And that is the best gift you can give anyone.
And for the past 3 years, in his car, has traveled over 85,000 kilometers, 41 countries, just to spread awareness about organ donation.
The Gift of Life Adventure Foundationच्या अनिल श्रीवत्स आणि टीम इंडियाचं खूप सारं कौतुक आणि शुभेच्छा.
I wish them all the best for World Transplant Games to be held in England 2019.
I just want to say it's such a beautiful thing. लोग यहाँ एक दूसरे को compliment नहीं दे पाते हैं यार, या नहीं देते हैं. And you've gifted your kidney. You deserve all the love and blessings in the world.
You are truly awe-inspiring. And I know you're going to do really well. You have all my love and good wishes.
You fill me with hope. You fill me with endless possibilities.
डोनेट के बाद आप 100 मीटर स्प्रिंट मारने जा रहे हैं 51 के एज में. क्या बात है, नमस्ते सर.
That takes a lot of mettle. Go Anil, we're with you.
So, you know, organ donation is not about just signing a paper. It's about telling your family about it and making your family aware of your wishes, because they're the only ones who can actually make and let that happen. So, Anil Srivatsa and Team India, all the very best.
Each one of us can save up to 7 lives by donating our organs. Be a real hero. Donate your organs today.
Anil, you're such an inspiration, bhai. At the age of 51, being a kidney donor yourself, you're taking part in the 100-meter sprint. वाह दोस्त, दिल तो आप जीत चुके हैं, अब आप जाके गोल्ड जीत के आइए.
And I personally, from the bottom of my heart, completely endorse and support organ donation, and I encourage you all to do the same.
And I wish him all the best in the marathon that he's just going to run. Irrespective whether they come first or last, it's about competing.
Sir, दिल तो जीत चुके हो, अब मेडल जीत के आओ.
It's really one thing to talk about organ donation, and it's completely another thing to be an organ donor.
Be a part of this movement. Be a part of encouraging more people in understanding how important it is to be an organ donor.
So follow the Gift of Life Adventure on FB, Instagram, YouTube.
अंगदान करो, अंगदाता बनो.
Good luck Anil and Team India for the World Transplant Games.